Okay, let's come back to our Puredata tutorial. In last lesson, we tried to do some automatic changes in number by using the counter and the metro. And in this way, we would try to combine it together with our gem graphics to have a look of what kinds of animated effect we can achieve by using the counter, metro, and the gem graphic library. And if you remember, when we're working on with the gem graphic window, we need to have some basic step. So we have a gem window and we use the create and the destroy message to open and close the window, and we also have a toggle to turn on and turn off the rendering. So in this page, we try to draw a cube on the graphic window. We start with the gem head. And then we produce a cube. In order to see the cube in the three-dimensional space, we'll use the message to draw just the outline instead of the surface of the cubes. And we can have a look of the graphical presentation. So this is a cube in the three-dimensional space. In one of the last tutorial, we come across with the use of the command translate XYZ, which moves the location of the cube in the three-dimensional space. So in this one, we'll move to another command called the rotation. So it's a very common form of three-dimensional transformation we use to rotate a 3D objects in the space along the three axes X, Y, and Z. To use this particular command, we will insert it between the gem head and the cube objects. It has similar configuration with the translate XYZ. The first inlet, which is the direction from the gem head to the cube, and the second, third, and the fourth one will be a numbers corresponding to the X, Y, and Z rotation. And the unit of the number will be degree. So if you would like to rotate the box in one complete rotation or revolution, it will be from 0 to 360 degrees. So altogether we have 3 of them. So let's have a look of the effect. The first one corresponding to the x-axis, which is a horizontal axis. The second one is the y-axis, that's the vertical one. The last one is the z-axis, which is the axis penetrating onto the projection screen. So it extends from the screen towards your eyes and also towards the back of your computer screen. And after this operation, we'll try to combine the effect of the two exercises. The last one, we have made use of the counter and also the metro. And this one, with the use of the number to control the rotation of that particular cube. So let's have a look what we can do by combining the two of them. So we spare some of the space on the right hand side of the page. In the last exercise, we have the metro box. The first inlet is a toggle to switch on and off of the counting of this metro box. And the second inlet is a number which controls the speed. And after that, we connect it to a counter box. So the counter box is actually a counter where whenever you press the band from the first inlet, it will try to count the number up or down according to the direction you specify. And it comes with a number of inlets where you can specify, for example, the maximum limit and also the current counter value. So if we are using the counter to control the rotation of the cube, the rotation usually starts with 0 and end with 360. So actually it's end with 355. So 360 actually is equal to 0. So we use the number 359 as the end point of the counting. And we also put in the initial value or reset value for the counter. And we can do the checking one by one first. For the first one, we try to enter a value for the second inlet of the metro box, which used to control the speed. And then we set up the counting limit. So we can have a look of the counting actually start from 0 and it ends with 359 and repeat from 0 again. And if you don't have the patience to wait, you can actually change the speed to a little bit faster. So that's the counting part. And once we have the counting, and also we have the rotation number, and you can consider to connect the two of them together to achieve an animated effect. So in this case, we try to connect this number to the Y rotation of the rotateXYZ box. So in the beginning, you still see the cube in the original position. And then once we start to do the metro, it will generate a number in the counter box, and which again fed to the rotateXYZ to control the rotation of the along the y-axis. And of course, you can connect this particular box to other rotation parameter. For example, you can altogether control two of them at the same time. So let's reset. So in this case, you can see that both the number x and y change automatically, and you see a more complex rotation by moving the x and y together in the same number. In this case, you can find that it's quite clumsy to connect a lot of those lines to the number box. If you remember, in some of the last exercise we have done, we introduced the use of send and receive box, and we can actually replace the line connection by the send and receive boxes. And if you take a look of this number, and actually if we connect it to the x and y boxes, and we do not need to have this particular number to put here, and you can just connect the outlet from the counter directly to the x or y or the z boxes. And in this case, I'll introduce back the use of the send, and we give it the variable name called the NUM number. And in the other end of the page, we use the R receive with the same variable name, NUM number. And you can have a look of the effect, which is just the same. For this one, I just connect it to the X box. So this is the result of removing the number box from here, and I connect a send box which indirectly will send the message to the receive box, and then back to the X box of the rotateXYZ box. So that's the end of this particular page. We'll use it to demonstrate the use of the macro, the counter, and how this number or changing number control the rotation of the appearance of this particular cube. So in subsequent chapters or lesson, we'll try to make more complex form of rotation and translation together to have a look of the effect.